In today's polarized political climate, Social Security, long cherished as a safety net for millions of Americans, is at the center of a fierce debate. Many current recipients and ardent supporters fear that the cornerstone of retirement security they depend on is under threat, with critics arguing that efforts to dismantle the traditional program are underway. These critics warn that a shift toward a privatized system could fundamentally alter the landscape of retirement benefits. This video aims to demystify the issues by first outlining the history of the current Social Security program, then tracing the evolution of privatization ideas, and finally exploring what a privatized version might look like. Rather than taking sides, the goal is to educate readers on the key differences between maintaining the current entitlement program and transitioning to a privatized alternative. Let's begin with a brief history of Social Security. Social Security was established in 1935 as part of President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal. The program was designed to provide financial security for older Americans during the Great Depression. Before its creation, many seniors faced poverty with little to no safety net. The program quickly became one of the most popular and enduring aspects of U.S. social policy. Social Security is 100% funded by payroll taxes. Both employees and employers contribute 6.2% each, for a total of 12.4% on wages up to a set limit. Because of this, it is considered an entitlement program, meaning individuals who have paid into the system over their working lives are legally entitled to receive benefits. For millions of retirees, Social Security is a financial lifeline, providing crucial income in their later years. In fact, for many seniors, it is their primary or only source of income, keeping them out of poverty. Social Security is one of the largest federal expenditures, but it is self-funded, not reliant on general tax revenue. However, due to longer life expectancies, a declining birth rate, and a shrinking worker-to-beneficiary ratio, the program faces financial challenges. Current projections suggest that by 2034, the Social Security Trust Fund could be depleted, at which point, payroll taxes would only cover about 77% of promised benefits unless Congress takes action. Let's consider public trust in the perspective of younger generations. Americans overwhelmingly trust and depend on Social Security, with strong bipartisan support for protecting and preserving it. However, younger generations, millennials and Gen Z, are more skeptical about whether Social Security will be available when they retire. Many fear they will pay into the system but not receive full benefits. Polls show that while young people value the program, many lack confidence in its long-term solvency and believe reforms are necessary. While there is no absolute guarantee, most experts believe Social Security will continue to exist in some form. Lawmakers have several options to fix its funding shortfall, such as raising the payroll tax cap, increasing payroll tax rates, or adjusting benefit formulas. The key question is not whether Social Security will survive, but how it will be reformed to remain sustainable for future generations. The idea of privatizing Social Security is not a new concept. Shifting from a fully government-run, pay-as-you-go Social Security system toward one that incorporates private, individual retirement accounts has deep roots in both academic and policy debates. Although several thinkers and policymakers have contributed to the idea over time, here's a brief timeline. Economists such as Milton Friedman and other free market advocates argued in the 1960s and 1970s for giving individuals more control over their retirement savings. Their work on private retirement accounts and market solutions laid the intellectual groundwork for later proposals to privatize Social Security. During the early 1980s, amid a broader movement for deregulation and market reforms, the concept began to take on a more concrete policy shape. By 1983, members of the Reagan administration and think tanks like the Heritage Foundation were proposing that part of Social Security could be converted into personal accounts managed by the private sector. Although these ideas influenced discussions, comprehensive privatization was never enacted. In the 1990s, the debate re-emerged as policymakers looked for ways to address long-term funding challenges in Social Security. The idea resurfaced in various proposals, and in 2005 President George W. Bush advocated for a partial privatization approach, suggesting that workers be allowed to invest a portion of their payroll taxes in private accounts to potentially earn higher returns while retaining some guaranteed benefits. Since the financial crisis of 2008, Social Security's long-term solvency has remained a contentious issue. The privatization concept has been revisited periodically, with several Republican lawmakers and candidates, especially during the 2016 presidential campaign and later debates, proposing variants of privatization as part of broader Social Security reform plans. While the specific dates and sponsors have varied, the proposal to introduce market elements into Social Security has consistently been championed by proponents of market-oriented reform, from early free market economists to modern policymakers seeking to address the program's financial challenges. Privatizing Social Security typically means shifting from a government-managed, pay-as-you-go system to one in which individuals own private accounts that are invested in the financial markets. Instead of receiving benefits funded by current workers' payroll taxes, individuals would have personal accounts where their contributions are invested, potentially growing over time based on market performance. With privatization, the returns on contributions depend on market conditions. While this could lead to higher returns, it also exposes retirees to greater financial risk, including potential losses if the markets underperform. Privatized systems often allow individuals more control over their investment choices and the ability to manage their retirement savings according to personal risk tolerance and goals. Switching to a privatized system might involve significant changes, such as restructuring how funds are collected, invested, and distributed. There may be transitional periods during which both systems operate simultaneously or adjustments are made to ensure current retirees are supported. Advocates argue that privatization could lead to more efficient markets and higher returns, while critics warn of increased inequality and financial instability, especially during economic downturns. In essence, privatizing Social Security involves transforming it from a safety net program based on redistribution into a system that emphasizes personal investment and responsibility, along with all the accompanying risks and rewards. At age 25, you'd likely be starting your contributions into a private retirement account. This account would be invested in various financial instruments, stocks, bonds, etc., and over the next 40 or more years, the balance would ideally grow and collect compound interest. With a privatized system, you might have the option to choose from a range of investment options based on your risk tolerance. Since the account's growth would be tied to market performance, early career savers would need to be prepared for periods of volatility. However, the long time frame may allow them to recover from downturns. Instead of relying on the pay-as-you-go model where benefits are determined by current workers' contributions, your retirement income would largely depend on the amount you contribute and how well your investments perform over time. At 50, you'd have been contributing to your private account for 25 years. The accumulated funds would be subject to the performance of the investments made during this period. A 75-year-old retired individual would likely have been under the traditional, government-managed Social Security system for most of their working life. If a privatization policy were implemented, transitional measures would be key to protect retirees. To prevent disruption, many privatization proposals include grandfathering provisions. This means that those already receiving benefits, like a 75-year-old, might continue to receive the established benefit amounts rather than being moved into a private account with market risk. Since you are retired, you wouldn't be making new contributions. Instead, your benefit payments might be adjusted to account for the overall financial environment or maintained as per previous guarantees to ensure stability and predictability of income. There could be concerns about the long-term sustainability of benefit levels if significant portions of the system transition to private accounts. However, policymakers typically design these transitions to minimize harm to those already retired by maintaining certain protections. These differences highlight that privatization would shift the focus to individual investment performance for younger and mid-career workers, while transitional policies are often designed to shield retirees from the immediate risks associated with a change in the system. Let's look at some specific questions that may come to mind. With a privatized system, Are the contributions to the private accounts mandatory for both employees and employers, and are they automatically deducted from payroll as is the current arrangement? Most proposals for privatizing Social Security generally maintain that contributions remain mandatory for both employees and employers, and the collection mechanism is designed to work similarly to the current system, typically via automatic payroll deductions. The idea is to continue requiring both employee and employer contributions to ensure that the system remains broadly funded. This mandatory nature helps maintain a wide risk pool and sufficient funding for retirement savings. Like the current Social Security system, contributions would likely be deducted automatically from an employee's paycheck. This method helps ensure consistency and minimizes administrative burdens for both workers and businesses. During the transition to a privatized system, many proposals include measures to convert existing contributions, from both employees and employers, into private account balances using predetermined formulas. This approach aims to ensure that all contributions made under the old system are fairly integrated into the new framework. While the core idea is to keep contributions mandatory and automatically deducted, the specifics can vary based on the proposal. Some versions might introduce additional elements such as matching contributions, different deduction rates, or transitional guarantees to protect those close to retirement. In summary, in most privatization proposals, both employees and employers would continue to make mandatory contributions that are automatically deducted from payroll, with these funds being directed into individual private accounts that eventually determine retirement benefits. Here's another good question. Is the act of retiring, or applying for benefits, the same as it is today? The act of retiring or applying for benefits is expected to resemble the current process in that an individual reaches a certain age and then formally applies for their retirement benefits. However, some additional steps could be involved since the funds in a private account may need to be converted into a steady income stream. For instance, applicants might have to choose between receiving a lump sum, setting up an annuity, or selecting another payout option. While the overall goal remains ensuring financial security in retirement, privatized proposals often offer a bit more flexibility, letting individuals decide how to best manage or withdraw their funds once they retire. Consider this question. Once benefits are being distributed, who manages that process? Once benefits are due, the actual management of funds may shift from a wholly government-run system to a hybrid model. Private financial institutions or designated retirement funds would manage the accounts, but this would occur under strict government regulation. This oversight helps ensure transparency, consumer protection, and adherence to standardized payout procedures. The disbursement of retirement benefits could be handled through various channels, including direct deposits to bank accounts or other secure electronic transfer methods. In some cases, retirees might have the option to receive a check if that remains a preferred method, but direct deposit is likely to be the standard due to its efficiency and reliability. How would the recipient receive the money, and will they receive the benefit until death? In many privatization proposals, once an individual converts their account balance into an annuity, the benefits are designed to continue throughout the recipient's lifetime. The intention is to provide a steady income until death, much like the current Social Security system. However, the exact structure may vary. For example, some plans could offer a life annuity with options for survivors or a period certain, where payments continue for a minimum number of years even if the individual dies early. Okay, last question. What determines how much an individual recipient receives? The total benefit depends primarily on the sum of contributions made over the individual's working life, including both the employees' and employers' shares. Since funds in a privatized system are invested in the market, the return on those contributions is a key factor. Better investment performance could result in a larger account balance and hence higher eventual benefits. Administrative fees or investment management charges will also affect the final balance. When transitioning to retirement income, the accumulated account balance is typically converted into a stream of periodic payments using actuarial calculations. These calculations consider factors such as prevailing interest rates, life expectancy, and the chosen payout option. The resulting annuity determines the monthly benefit. Some proposals might include a minimum benefit guarantee, ensuring that even if investment returns are poor, retirees receive at least a baseline income level. This is particularly important for protecting those who have consistently contributed throughout their careers. In summary, the future of Social Security remains a contentious issue. Many Americans trust and depend on the program, viewing it as a fundamental right for those who have paid into it. However, concerns about its long-term viability have led some policymakers to advocate for privatization or other structural changes. Younger generations, in particular, express skepticism about whether Social Security will be available when they retire, fueling discussions about alternative solutions. Ultimately, the debate over Social Security reform is not about whether the program should exist, but rather how to ensure its sustainability for future generations. As policymakers continue to weigh potential solutions, it is crucial for the public to understand the implications of both maintaining the traditional system and exploring privatization options. The future of Social Security will depend on informed decision-making and a commitment to balancing financial sustainability with the needs of retirees and future generations.